Delighted on this episode to be talking with the very creative and very kind L.E. Daniels. May I call you L.E. or how shall I address you?
Lauren is fine.
Lauren.
Ellie's just
Okay.
for the books.
That works. That works well. Well, welcome, Lauren. I
Thank you.
almost never read, absolutely. I almost never read a biographical statement, but I found a really nice one about you. So, if I may, I'll just share that and amplify it. L.E. Daniels is an awarded American author, poet, and editor of over 130 published titles. Her novel Serpent's Wake could tell for the Bitten, that's a great subtitle as well, shortlisted for Singapore's Half the World Global Literati Award and is a notable work with the Horror Writer Association's Mental Health Initiative. Lauren co-edited, you might have to help me with this person's name, Ike Flintheart's Legacy
Yes.
Anthology.
Mhm.
Perfect, wonderful. Relics, Wrecks, and Ruins, with Genevieve Flynn winning the 2021 Australian Aurelialis Award. How did I do with that word?
Borealis, close.
All right, all right. This is a lesson for me as well. She co-edited the 2022 Aurealis finalist. Am I a good listener?
Yeah,
Did I?
you got it.
Fantastic.
Nailed it.
Okay, wonderful. We Are Providence, published with Weird House with Krista Carmen, also listing
Yes.
on the Bram Stoker Awards preliminary ballot. Now, this goes on to mention that you have other publications, including
Mm.
Silk in Hush, Don't Wake the Monster, which is also a Bram Stoker nominee. And the part of this that
Yes.
I want to mention, other than the many publications, is that you direct the Brisbane Writers Workshop as well.
Yes, I do. In Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. I'm a Rhode Islander who now lives in Australia. I've been here for 25 years, so that makes sense of that.
Lovely, lovely.
Yes.
Well, we'll see if we can go back and make me sound like I know how to say things. But thank you for helping me through that. And what's missing from the bio, do you feel? What did
Oh,
dog fan as well?
dog
Um,
fan. I have to brag and say that it's now over 150 titles that I've edited. So I know
Quite
I have to
impressive.
update that one.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
I've also been nominated for the Ditmar, and along with Krista Carmen, we edited We Are Providence was the first one, and then Monsters in the Mills is the second anthology with Rhode Island writers. So we were nominated for the Ditmar and also the Australasian Shadows Award. So that was really lovely to see, and the Shirley Jackson Award. So we're
Lovely.
pretty thrilled with what's been happening. I got to add that.
Yeah, the name Shirley Jackson must indeed be said. What a literary legacy to
Mm.
engage with. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Uh,
wonderful. Yeah.
Well, what inspires all of this creativity? Is there caffeine in the mix? What
Oh,
is
yes.
the secret?
Isn't there always caffeine? I mean, in
Always.
some form. I love that question because it's so multi-tiered. I mean, my first impulse is to think of Rilke. I remember reading Letters to a Young Poet when I was a studying, writer in Boston, and everyone was reading that little paperback. And he says, love the questions. And I think that just, when you read a sentence and it just sticks to you, I think that's what drives me. If I have a question and it could be about generational trauma that runs through my family tree, like so many of survivors and determined men and women who survived wars and immigration and workplaces, factory settings where there were no workers' rights, being child workers in, silk mills or wool mills. I always have questions that start off this examination, and I find that fiction and poetry are two ways to unpack it and hold that space. I might not be able to answer them, but I can ponder. I think that's probably what drives a fair bit of my writing.
It's a wonderful way to ponder and reponder, and the process is open, and it can be your own process.
Mm, yes, yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Now, you've mentioned editing over 150 works and being involved as a writer and poet. How does the role of editor inform your writing or vice versa?
It's a blessing and a curse, I think. On the one hand, it's the sheer repetition. of seeing the same things that writers do, whether they're just starting out or they're pros. I mean, I've worked with people who have 10 books out, but still kind of wrestle with the same issues when they're creating drafts, and also people who are just starting out and wondering, what am I needing to pay attention to? So it's this whole gamut. And you tend to see the same, I guess, recipe of elements. I don't know, I'm mixing up my metaphors now.
I
I
like
see
it. It
the
works
same
though.
patterns in writers
Yeah.
that they just need to focus on, unpack, give more attention to something or maybe less. And so as a writer, I have that editor in my head as I'm trying to draft as well. And I need her to just go sit down and have a cup of coffee somewhere while I wrestle with the right brain chaos. Um,
Mhm.
so I think it also brings me back to how when I was studying at Emerson, I was working full time in publishing in Boston and I was studying at night at Emerson. And I had a professor who said, as a writer, your job is to keep trying to tell the truth. And I find that that's what's going on for the editor as well. I will align with the writer's truth. I'll see what they're trying to do and I'll try to support them to tell that truth. And then when I write my own work, I feel that insistence of tell it right, tell it honestly, tell it authentically, do your best, stay in line. And sometimes when you're knee deep in it that you've veered off the truth path and you're dabbling in cliches. I think there's all of that kind of going on. And the more I edit, the more sensitive I become to that process. And it's thrilling too to help people actualize those visions. I get a lot of reward, I think, from that of watching it happen for other people as well as for myself.
You also co-author with
Yes.
people, which is another interesting step. So if I can tuck a question here, what is that like for you as a writer?
Well, I co-edit. I haven't actually been able to co-author something. I don't know how to play well with others on that level. I think my hat's off to people who can do that. And maybe that'll be something that comes. I see some interesting collaborations, happening across different genres, and it looks exciting. I've never gone there, but co-editing, I do that with Krista Carmen, and we're working right now on our third in the series of anthologies of Rhode Island writers. And we work so well together. I think it has to be a relationship where you're compatible on really distinct levels, where we can pass something to each other and we know what the other's thinking, and we can, I don't know, there is a sort of mysterious layer where you just know it's working and you know that you're speaking the same language and you know how to push an author or writer or poet to take that next step, but not interfere with their process as well. You don't want to block them or overwhelm them. You don't want to dictate anything, but you want to say there's a problem here, or I think there's more to the story. And in co-editing, you really get this kind of dynamic where you push work back and forth. And then in the end, you just cross your fingers.
The right brain of it and the creativity and yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful
Mm.
journey and I love editing because you get to sort of reach out, craft a space for other people to be part of. So I sense that about
Yes.
you as well.
Yes. And to co-create with others. You in the
Mm,
end, you're co-creating something and the editor works in invisible ink, but you can see the energy lift on a piece when you know that that writer they needed something from you and you were able to provide it. That's marvelous.
absolutely, absolutely. You were talking about finding that truth, and you also mentioned trauma and mental health and family. What leads you to horror as a way of exploring some of that truth?
That I love that question because horror is in a golden age right now. We're seeing some
Mm,
really magical things happening. I mean, the movie Sinners that just took us by storm at the start of the year was, oh, I saw it in the theater, turned around and went back and saw it again. I thought, no, I need to
mm.
saturate in this energy. This is a monumental artistic feat. Um, so with horror. I guess first I should say with the Horror Writers Association, I'm on the mental health initiative with Mark Matthews. We're co-chairs of it. And this is a brainchild of Lee Murray and Dave Jeffrey. Um, and it's allowed us to create more conversation around horror and mental health and how some people, like myself, when we're feeling stressed, we might put on Hannibal or we might watch a zombie movie because it gives us a sense of peace. It gives us a way to put the stuff from in here out there and also be in control of it. You can hit pause, you can walk away, you can laugh at it. That idea of comic horror like Cocaine Bear, I love that movie. You can laugh at it and you can step out of that spinning space of stress, which so many of us are in touch with at this time, where there's just a lot of anxiety in the world. There are a lot of headlines, and I think horror just has allowed us to articulate stories, to look at our ancestry and tell stories that have been waiting maybe to be told, and they can help us make sense of ourselves and our own family dynamics, our own maybe workaholism or I guess attractions to certain things. I think horror gives us a place to, oh well, transform, because all good stories are about transformation. On some level, at some point, a transformation happens. And for horror, everything is staked in empathy. You're trying to get readers and audience members to align with a protagonist and empathize with them and feel for them and walk with them. So I do see the horror writer's job as quite special because we encourage them to trust us as we go into these dark places and trust us to get them out. Or if we're gonna end there and the ship is gonna sink, boy, is it gonna be cathartic. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. A great choice with Hannibal too. What a go-to film and what a transformation. And how do you empathize with a character who is like that, and yet you do,
Oh, it's all about the manners, Jason. That's what
right?
he won me over, the manners. I mean, it's all about the rude and his decor and his sensibilities and his intelligence. And we all wish we could be so quick and observant, you know. And then I love that moment when you're either watching a movie or you're reading something and you want the bad guy to get away with it. You think, oh
Uh-huh.
no, they've aligned me with the monster. Okay, transformation complete on this end.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. You pause and question and go, "Oh yeah, but that's what we were after." Absolutely.
Yes, yes, well done.
Yeah. What is, you mentioned you're currently co-editing volume three.
Mm.
So curious about what is next for you, what's in development.
Yes, let's see. At this stage, I just had a story released with Darkness Most Foul with a W, Fowl, edited by Elaine Pascal, and that's with Godmother of Horror Press. And that's my short story Stomata, which I've returned to science fiction horror after a long hiatus. And this is a bit of sci-fi horror cli-fi. And so I'm very proud of this story because it's just gone live as of Halloween. And it's about what happens if we have a mass extinction event that takes away the songbirds, takes away birds. We lose them all. And I did a lot of research about, beyond the obvious, what else do they do for us? And pollination being such a big part of their plans for the planet.
Mhm.
And I kind of linked it with the International Space Station and how I read a story about how a lot of the astronauts have reported dreaming of the Jurassic period while they're up there, as if the Earth is playing
Oh,
tapes to them. And I paired that energy up and thought, well, what would happen? Well, I won't say too much, but just pairing that information about the Earth preserving itself and that we are participants, regardless of our motivation. Yes.
oh,
So what else
cool.
is I also have to give a shout out to This Way Lies Madness, edited by, again, Dave Jeffrey and Lee Murray, which is all about mental health. And I have a poem in there called Speak, which is about growing up with a stutter. And it was an opportunity to reflect, look back, see what it was like as a child, and then frame it in the adult capacity, you know. and hold those truths side by side. I wouldn't have done it if it weren't for that anthology. And that shows us the magic of anthologies, how they create communities and challenge authors to try different things. I have a couple other projects that I don't know if I can mention yet. So I'd have to let those go, but I am working on two personal essays that will be going into anthologies with the horror community as well.
Very cool. Very cool. You were talking about that marriage of science fiction and horror, and just such a
Mm.
wonderful relationship between those genres.
Oh, I love it. When something
Yeah,
comes out in that region, I'm there for it. Yes. And it's fun to research. If you like to write that, it's fun to research if you enjoy science and possibilities. Mm.
where do we find out more information about you? Where can we sample some of these lovely goods that we've been talking about?
Yes. Well, one thing I wanted to mention was I will be coming to StokerCon in Pittsburgh in June 2026. So I do hope to see a lot of people there. I'll be braving the international travel circuit for that. I'll be traveling with Genevieve Flynn for that as well. We'll be arriving and doing our thing there. So hoping to be on panels and chatting with people there. People want to see my work on my website, which is brisbanewriters.com. I've got a page that has all my public appearances and publications and links to the books and samples and interviews and all sorts of stuff. So brisbanewriters.com is a good place to start. What else can I mention? Oh, also aiming to attend Necronomicon in Providence, Rhode Island in August next year as well, which is such a wonderful gathering of writers and minds and academics. So for the weird fiction fans out there, please come. We'll be launching our third anthology there as well. And we always have a massive sheet cake. That's incentive.
Nice. Well, I need to make it out to these some of these places. I've been to Comic Cons. I've started making my
Oh,
way into those, so that's next on the list. I need to start going to some of these spaces as well.
oh, yes. And Pittsburgh's a nice place for StokerCon. It is a nice
Yeah,
city. If you want
yes,
to
it
go,
is.
let us know. We'll track you down. We'll do dinner.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, many thanks for a wonderful chat. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to include before we close out?
I think we covered it, Jason. It's just a pleasure. It's wonderful to chat with you, and I appreciate you reaching out. This